It sure has been a long time. Hello everyone, Sean here. This is the start of me trying something new for mods. Typically, whenever I made modding videos, it would be a short gameplay trailer of the mod in action. It's pretty brief, and I wanted to change that. This is the start of presentations, so to speak, for mods I've worked on. The main goal for this is to put collaborators of a mod and their contributions into the spotlight. This would also allow a format to share some insight on the mod's development, talk about future plans, and other fun things. Before we begin, I wanted to say that this mod is a part 1 of a series of mods that is made as a tribute to Alpha Dream. They were the studio that made the Mario Luigi RPG series, but unfortunately had their studio shut down a few years ago. I hope all of the talent that was behind the studio is doing well today. With that said, let's begin this presentation by talking about Midbus and his significance. Midbus is a major antagonist that appears in the video game Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. This game first came out in 2009 for Nintendo DS. A remake of the game was later released in 2018 for Nintendo 3DS. Midbus is seen as a rival to Bowser, sharing a similar physical build and strength. He acts as a right-hand man to Fawful, the main villain of the game. One distinct trait of Midbus is that he later gains ice elemental powers. This acts as a nice contrast to Bowser's fire breath, and is something that I really wanted to add to this mod. We'll go more into that later. It's a fun challenge to translate a 2D character like Midbus into 3D. While making Midbus fit in with the stylized realism of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I wanted to remain as faithful as I could to the original design. It's a balance of personal design choices and retaining the appeal of the character. There are some pretty apparent changes that had to be made to make Midbus fit over Bowser's skeleton better, mainly the legs. I'll make the modeling and texture process pretty brief, just so it doesn't take up too much time. First, I'll start with a rough blockout. This is to make sure everything lines up with Bowser's skeleton, while also shaping up the silhouette of Midbus. Compared to Bowser, Midbus is a big old boy, so I had to make sure his model isn't too big to where he has insane clipping with Bowser's animations. Next, I'll send the block out to ZBrush for sculpting. From here, I can start refining the shapes and add in more forms like muscles. For the finer details, I tend to stylize real-world references. For his skin detail, I reference hippos and elephants, and for his shell, I reference an armadillo. His shell in particular was tricky, because you can easily over-detail this stuff. This is my favorite part of the process, as this is where the desired art direction really comes together. Once the high poly sculpt is in the right place, we'll begin retopology to optimize the mesh. We're building a lower res model over the shapes of our high poly sculpt to make it easier to work with. Before beginning, I like to keep a poly budget in mind, just so I can have a ballpark estimate of what the final poly count could be. Finally, the model is textured. The details from the high poly sculpt are baked onto the game res model. Extra details are added at this stage, like his arm tattoo, as well as different surface materials, like his metal cuffs here. All of these steps were done for Blizzard Midbus as well. Thankfully, it didn't take near as long, since normal Midbus could be used as a base. I think my favorite parts of working on Blizzard Midbus was the stylized fur, as well as adding some small storytelling elements on the crown, like these scratches and bits of frost. Now that the final touches are complete, let's get this guy moving. When it came to importing and skinning Midbus, I knew I would need some help. I reached out to a friend of mine that was thankfully very interested in the project. His name is Joe TE. Joe TE is best known for his Smash mods and Sonic Generation mods. Most notably, his Octoling and Dry Bowser mod. Speaking of Dry Bowser, he has been updating the mod for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, with new materials, meshes, and textures. It looks incredible, and as always, it has that high level of polish that his mods are known for. If you want to stay up to date to the Dry Bowser mod, and any other future mods that he has planned, be sure to follow him at JoeTE Game Mods on Twitter. Joe TE, the absolute mad lad, did the skinning for not only regular Midbus, but Blizzard Midbus as well. I really don't think Midbus would be moving as smoothly as he does in-game without Joe TE's help. At this point in development, Midbus is really coming to life. But you know what else brings a character to life? A voice! On Twitter, I ran an audition on who could voice Midbus. There were many great takes on the character, but I felt like Andrew was the best choice. Not only was he a big fan of the Mario Luigi RPG series, but he had a lot of range. Originally, for the voice direction of this mod, I just wanted a Smash Brothers style take on the voice. Basically a more animalistic or beastly sound in comparison to how they initially sound. But I was caught by surprise when not only did he nail that direction, he made a separate series of voice clips for a style that was more like Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. So now, you have two different voice directions to choose when downloading this mod. Let's take a listen with both Bowser and Midbus. Andrew, I cannot stress this enough, man. You did a fantastic job. Speaking of, I'll pass the mic over to the voice of Midbus.
Sorry about that, I had something in my throat. Hi, I'm Andrew Sechrest, otherwise known as Aviary, and I do the voice of Midbus in this mod. Now, let me tell you folks, I've always loved the Mario RPGs ever since I played Legend of the Seven Stars on the SNES as a kid. Then after that it was Paper Mario and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, and then came the Mario and Luigi series, which as a kid I don't think I appreciated quite as much, but as I've grown older I've really developed a stronger appreciation for the series, especially Bowser's Inside Story, which was, and still is, my favorite in the entire series. So, whenever I found out that Sean was making a mod to put Midbus in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it really excited me. Well, the first time I learned about it anyway, then Sean kinda put the mod on hiatus for a bit, but then he came back and he started up development on it again. And this time, he was looking for someone to do the voice for Midbus. Now, whenever I heard this, I snatched up the opportunity to audition as soon as I could. At first it seemed like it was gonna be a maybe on whether or not I'd do the voice, but I kept submitting additional lines with various effects, and eventually he decided that I was the voice that he wanted, which I'm really thankful for. So, here I am. I'm in the mod. It's really crazy that I got to bring a character from one of my favorite video games to life, and people I know seem to be pretty crazy about it too, so I'm really thankful for it. If you want to keep up with me, I just opened up a new YouTube channel called Audio Aviary. I plan on uploading various things on there, mainly stuff to do with my voice. I voice act, of course, but then I also sing, and let me tell you, singing is my calling. That is what I like to do the most, so you're gonna see a lot of singing on there. You're also probably gonna see me composing and arranging music and uploading it on there. So if you want to keep up with whatever I decide to do, any projects I work on, that's one place to look. There's also my Twitter, @avial_Andrew. Any major projects I'm in or involved with in any way, I will always promote on there. I'd really like to thank Sean and everyone else who worked on this mod for pouring everything they had into it for so long, because this has been in development for a long time, and I really also want to thank them for allowing me to be a part of that. It's, you know, like I said before, it's crazy to be able to bring a character from one of my favorite video games to life, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm really excited to see Midbus in the game for myself and try him out for myself. I think it's gonna be really exciting, guys. It's gonna be really cool. That's it. See ya. I'll pass off the mic to whoever happens to be next.
Hey, it's me again. I guess we had a good point to talk about that ice breath I mentioned way earlier in the video. So included with this mod is a plugin that you'll need, Smashline Hook, and NRO Hook. This changes the neutral B special to freeze enemies. They'll freeze for a short period of time. This moveset change was made by Alex Wu. You can keep track of his other mod projects on Twitter, @WuboyFGC. Whenever you have this plugin installed, if you wanted the ice breath to be over a particular costume slot, you'll just need to place the midbus.marker file into the mod directory shown on the screen. Don't worry that whenever the mod is available for download, you can read through the README note that'll be included in the mod to kind of help to guide you through these special instructions. For the moveset edit, as well as the online safe version, I changed the visual effects of the fire breath to have a more blizzard feel to it. Unfortunately, for the Wi-Fi safe version, I can't change the burn effect when it hits a character. If I were to change those effects, it would also change it for other characters that leave a burn, like Charizard for example. It's the type of case where an effect like that is universally shared across fighters. Whenever you don't use the moveset edit, I like to call this move a freezer burn. It's corny, but I guess it works. Now, you're probably wondering, if there's an ice breath moveset change, why not change the other moves? It's mainly because I don't have too much free time anymore to work on mods. I'm usually busy these days working on
NDA.
Now that the mod is finally coming out, it would be interesting to see if the Ultimate Body community does anything with it. There's a fair amount of moves to reference where the game Midbus comes from. Some ideas from the top of my head would be making down B into a counter, or changing his up B to do a belly flop and bounce off an enemy when he lands on them. Sort of like what Belmont or Greninja's down air does. Now, I must stress that this mod was made for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in mind, especially its art direction. I kindly ask that you do not port this model to other game engines. Please understand. However, if you rip the model and want to use it for animating or rendering of something like Source Filmmaker or Blender, feel free. I love seeing stuff like that. Speaking of animation, as an experiment, Midbus has a custom/edited victory animation. This was created by Kimo. I've always enjoyed their Blender animations and wanted to see if they wanted to make something for Midbus. I am so thankful that they wanted to. We're both currently working on a custom fighter with others, so it allowed us to understand the process better for importing animations. This wouldn't have been made possible without Carlos's animation tool, Smash Ultimate Blender. It is a Blender plugin that allows you to not only import models, but export animations as well. A viable tool for anyone looking to mod this game. You can follow Kimo on Twitter as well as Carlos. No victory would be complete without a fanfare. I am so thankful that Evelyn, also known as the Noble Demon, made a custom arrangement for the victory theme of Midbus. This is an arrangement of the Battle Victory track from Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, originally composed by Yoko Shimomura. They were a pleasure to work with, and I hope to work with them again in the future. If you want to support them, feel free to become a patron on their Patreon. Thank you once again to everyone that contributed to this mod. You are all incredible, and good luck in your endeavors. Why don't we take a quick look at everyone's work in action? So right away, you'll probably notice something very interesting. Midbus can be his own slot at the character select screen. This was made possible with CoolSonicKirby's Redirect plugin and Character Select Screen Manager. This allows new character select screen entries for extra costume slots. Because of that, Midbus' costumes can be separate from Bowser's. Midbus will come with extra color schemes and the unique costume of Blizzard Midbus. A quick shout out to one of my Twitter followers for their recolor concepts. Each color scheme is a reference to something in the Mario Luigi RPG series. Oh, I need to also mention that the announcer call was made by Andrew. It sounds like an official announcer call, and I love the energy behind it. Alright, let's start the match. Of course, we gotta go with Bowser vs Midbus. I'll be using JoTe's Bowser Recolor mod for this, which allows his diffuse textures to match his render more. One other thing that I'm using for this match is we'll go with the more Bowser's Inside Story styled voice clips. I'll take a break from talking for a bit and make some closing notes when the match is finished. And there you have it. There is a lot of content to this mod. The download link to this mod will be in a separate video that will be uploaded 2 or 3 days from now. There are some optional downloads that come with it. They were imported and made on my own. First is the Kirby costume. At the time being, Kirby hats cannot be costume alt specific. The game doesn't read it as what costume slot you copied. Instead, it's one slot for each Kirby skin. Second is Giga Midbus. Currently, it can't be shared to one slot. However, I still decided to make it for when or if the time comes. I based it off of Blizzard Midbus and made it more beast-like. You could probably see the heavy Ganon inspiration for this. For each Alpha Dream tribute mod like Midbus, there will be a Mii costume as well. They'll be based on the character that comes from the Mario Luigi RPG series. Let's look at the one that will release alongside Midbus. One more thing before I roll the credits. I've had a strong interest in 3D printing lately, so I had an idea. A custom amiibo is planned. I'll be using the high poly assets to 3D print it. The first copy will be used in a free giveaway. Be sure to follow my social links in the description below to know when the giveaway begins. Thanks for watching. This was a lot of work to do, but like I said, I wanted to give everyone's work justice. That makes it worth it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Until next time, bye bye.
The wife all here. None beat Lord Farfel. Soon, he will finish you.